I was working in legal tech, and I had built what I thought was the ultimate adult learning friendly onboarding process for a sales team. It had the best slides, it had the best activities, there were some awesome role plays and case studies that I'd put together. I had videos, I had awesome music, and I thought they were going to race out of that room and rock it out there and actually deliver on everything that I'd trained them. 2 weeks later, nothing changed. They had their ability to engage a client was awkward. Their ability to handle objections was atrocious. And just the feedback I got from the sales leaders was they just don't get it. In fact, one told me they know what to say, but they don't understand what they're actually saying. So it was a real switch for me to go, well, how do I change that? Putting them in a room for 2 weeks was not going to solve the sales challenge that I had. And for a lot of you that work with salespeople, they're fast-paced, on the move, and you've got a sales leader going, why are we going to drag them into a training room for 2 weeks when I can just have them doing sales activity out on the floor? So I started to look at how do I get them to understand what they're selling. And the first thing I did was on day 3 and 4 of their onboarding, they went and lived as a client. So they went into a legal office and they were photocopying paper, they were trying to create legal contracts, they were putting them in order, and they were actually living the pain of that customer. And they still didn't know what we did as a business from a product sense. Then what we did is we brought them back into the office, and I had our top salespeople grill them and teach them how to demo, and they played the customer. And what they would do is they would go through that role play, and in character, that salesperson or top salesperson would turn around and go, no, try again, and again, and again, and again, until they got it. So we started to create a level of pressure that they started getting frustrated with, because I wanted that frustration in our salespeople. Because then when we started to teach them how to actually sell the solution, it connected with the pain and frustration that they'd been through. So now I've got these salespeople that know and understand our customer, and they've been drilled and grilled, and we had no time frame on that. I had some people that were able to demo within 2 weeks. I had some that took 6 and 7 weeks, and we gave them that opportunity and that guidance and the support for them to be able to do it. I think what we did next was probably the thing that almost broke a lot of those salespeople, because once they thought they were ready to sell, we then had them certify for their demo, and we used the senior executives in the business to actually sit on a panel and play the customer. One of the cool things that I saw, and this is not something that I planned, was just the way the sales team rallied around them. We would publish the date and the time that a salesperson was going to go in and certify for their demo, and they would rally around them. There was a lot of support, there was a lot of quick practice at the end, there was a lot of it, okay, where do you feel stressed about it? And what we did was, if they came out and they failed, and they got a couple of attempts at a panel, it wasn't like you had to nail this panel or you were out. We gave them the support. But if they failed, the team rallied around them and supported them, and everybody wanted to put in and help. If they succeeded, it was a team celebration. So it was on the team to help the new salespeople to actually go through that process. When they went into that panel, it wasn't because they wanted to prove that they could demo. They wanted to prove that they could actually care and look after the clients and understand what they were going through. Once they knew the solution itself, they cared about that client. They wanted to see that client succeed because they knew the power of the solution and what it actually solved, rather than a feature list and a benefits list and all the advantages in between. They truly understood what it took to do that. So one of the things I'm going to challenge you on is, when creating those training room environments, if you're not putting them under pressure and you're not getting them to go through the paces before they're even qualified to go and sell, then are we just creating glorified events for our sales team? So one of the things that I learned from living that journey was moving away from the classroom as much and using the people in there. Some of the stats I learned that helped me quantify this with the leadership team was 10 to 15% of training leads to lasting and changing behaviour. That floored me. Only 10 to 15%. 84% of sales training content is forgotten after 90 days without reinforcement. And that's probably the big one that shifted for me. I can put you in a training room for 2 weeks. By the end of that time, 90 days, you've forgotten 84% of it. So that was the changes. So these were just some quotes and I'll share that. But these are the 3 key lessons that I learned. If it doesn't work in the wild, it doesn't work. We're going to have to keep requalifying those people. They're going to keep wanting the quick cheat sheet. They're going to be wanting the quick bits and pieces that are going to tell them how to do it rather than having lived it. Your best trainers might not have the title. So look for the people that already have the behaviours and the capability within your business and get them to support. It takes the pressure off us to be the subject matter expert and the one that's doing all of the training. And I was only a solo enabler, so 45 salespeople and me. I didn't have time to sit with every single one of them. My last lesson, you don't need more content, they just need more practice. And I think that was the lasting lesson I learned with the onboarding program we subsequently built, was putting them in a room, getting them frustrated, getting them to re-drill it and re-drill it and re-drill it until it became just a habit and behaviour, shifted the trajectory of the sales that we delivered with new people. A couple of examples, a SDR team, cold calling team that we built and put in. The record was for a week was 32 demos booked. After we put the first cohort through and we didn't add any more head, it was 103 meetings booked and quality meetings because we measured meaningful contact, meaningful conversations, not did they book a meeting. So it shows that by drilling them and putting them through that process, that it actually gets them more capable than just putting them through a training room. So thank you. Have a look at your training and see whether it's a fancy event